absolutely confirmed. Tottenham have stunned Liverpool, surging ahead in the race for the Bundesliga's most explosive left-winger this January. Welcome back to Tottenham News Today channel. Tottenham have just thrown a thunderbolt into the January transfer window, surging ahead of Liverpool in the race for RB Leipzig's explosive Ivorian winger Yan Diomande. According to Sacha Tavolieri from Sky Sports, Spurs have rapidly moved into advanced talks with the players' camp, catching Liverpool completely off guard and shifting the entire dynamic of the Bundesliga talent chase. Diomande, only 19, has been one of the most electrifying young forwards in Germany this season. His blistering acceleration, fearless dribbling, and ability to create chaos in the final third have put half of Europe on high alert. Leipzig had initially placed an £80 million valuation on their rising star, expecting a bidding war. But sources in North London insist the German club may be far more flexible than they appear, especially considering Tottenham's strong relationship with RB Leipzig, forged during the negotiations surrounding Xavi Simons. Spurs believe a significantly lower offer could push this deal over the line quicker than anyone anticipated. Liverpool had been quietly confident of positioning themselves at the front of the queue, but Tottenham have accelerated negotiations at exactly the right moment. With the Reds focusing on alternative targets, particularly Antoine Semenyo, the door swung wide open for Spurs to make their move. Ironically, Semenyo's situation might actually benefit Tottenham. If Liverpool shift their attention fully towards the Bournemouth forward, Diomande becomes far easier for Spurs to secure without a bidding frenzy. Barcelona, meanwhile, have made discreet inquiries and even held internal discussions about Diomande's potential fit. However, the Catalan club's severe financial restrictions have left them unable to match what Tottenham are preparing to offer. For Barca, admiration is all they can manage. For Spurs, action is already underway. Inside the Tottenham boardroom, the belief is growing that Diomande could be the ideal January signing. Younger, cheaper and more explosive than Semenyo, while offering the kind of direct attacking threat Thomas Frank desperately needs to inject life into his front line. The club sees an opportunity not just to strengthen the squad, but to stamp their authority on a market where Premier League rivals are hesitating. Spurs have the momentum, the negotiations, the relationship with Leipzig, and right now, they're out in front. North London is bracing itself. If all continues at this pace, Tottenham could be days away from pulling off one of the most ambitious winter moves in recent memory. Spurs' search for a powerful Premier League-ready striker has taken a dramatic turn, with sources in England revealing that the club have placed Brentford forward Igor Thiago near the top of their January shortlist. According to fresh reports, Spurs have been tracking the Brazilian closely for months, and his explosive start to the season has now put him firmly in their sights. Thiago was initially brought to Brentford as the long-term successor to Ivan Toney, but injuries derailed his first year in English football. He barely featured, managing just a single Premier League start, leaving supporters unsure of what he could actually offer. That uncertainty has vanished this season. The 24-year-old has erupted into form, hitting 12 goals in 14 appearances across all competitions and becoming one of the most efficient finishers in the league. His physical presence, relentless pressing, and ability to bully centre-backs have quickly turned him into Brentford's main attacking weapon. With Brentford sitting mid-table and relying heavily on Thiago's goals, the last thing they want is to lose their standout striker halfway through the campaign. But interest is building fast, and Tottenham are not alone. Newcastle and Aston Villa are also expected to test Brentford's resolve, with all three clubs studying the possibility of a deal before the January window gathers pace. While Brentford are adamant they do not want to sell in the winter, insiders believe they are bracing for concrete offers. Caught Offside report that the London club are already discussing scenarios, including the possibility of agreeing to an initial loan with an obligation to buy at the end of the season, a structure that could appeal to several Premier League sides. However, such a deal would not come cheaply. Thiago has more than 3 years remaining on his current contract, and although early estimates suggest a fee around £35 million, Brentford have a well-earned reputation for squeezing maximum value out of their top performers. If a bidding war breaks out, that figure could rise significantly. For Tottenham, the timing is crucial. After a promising start under Thomas Frank, recent results have been alarming. Spurs have gone 6 domestic matches without a win, and have suffered 4 defeats in that run. Goals have dried up, Confidence has dipped, and the absence of a dominant centre-forward has become painfully obvious. Signing Thiago would inject power, presence and unpredictability into a front line that has struggled to impose itself in tight matches. The admiration from Spurs is genuine. Scouts have been consistently impressed by Thiago's ability to win duels, his tireless work rate, and his knack for arriving in the box at exactly the right moment. Those close to the Brazilian describe him as determined, hungry and ready for a step up the Premier League ladder. The question is whether Brentford will let their in-form talisman move during a season in which they desperately need him. Spurs are preparing to make their move. Brentford are preparing to resist. And as January approaches, Thiago's name is rapidly becoming one of the most talked about in the Premier League rumour mill. Tottenham's push to strengthen their midfield has taken a sharp turn towards Spain, where Gallagher, now at Atletico Madrid, is emerging as one of the club's main priorities for the January window. The 25-year-old is once again being linked with a Premier League return, and the noise surrounding negotiations is getting louder by the day. Reports from Spain claim Atletico are willing to cash in if a club meets their £45 million valuation, a figure Tottenham are believed to be ready to match if the green light arrives from the sporting hierarchy. Newcastle and Everton are hovering, waiting for an opportunity to strike, but insiders insist Spurs are the most aggressive and organised among the three, having monitored Gallagher's situation closely since his move to Madrid began to stall. For Tottenham, the timing could not be more crucial. What started as a vibrant, fluid and promising season has quickly descended into inconsistency. A lack of midfield dominance has become painfully obvious, especially in games where Spurs struggle to stamp authority or retain control for long stretches. With pressure growing on Thomas Frank to revitalise performances, adding a battle-hardened midfielder has become a non-negotiable priority. Gallagher fits the profile perfectly. His relentless energy, ball-winning ability and capacity to break lines make him an attractive solution for a Tottenham side lacking aggression at key moments. His Premier League pedigree is proven, his engine is unmatched, and his adaptability makes him an instant plug-and-play option. There is a growing belief within the club that Gallagher could walk straight into the starting 11 and raise standards on day one. Meanwhile, the players' camp are said to be evaluating their options carefully. Gallagher, despite embracing the challenge of Spanish football, his role under Diego Simeone has been inconsistent. A regular starting spot has not been guaranteed, and with the World Cup on the horizon, the midfielder is said to be keen on returning to an environment where he can secure consistent minutes and re-establish himself among England's most reliable performers. Tottenham believe they can offer exactly that. With Champions League ambitions still alive and a squad rebuild underway, Spurs see Gallagher as a long-term pillar, someone who brings leadership, edge and Premier League intensity. The club also consider themselves a more appealing sporting project than Newcastle or Everton at this moment in time, with a clearer route to competing for major honours and a manager committed to developing players in their prime. Atletico Madrid, however, are expected to drive a hard bargain. They know Premier League clubs are circling, and they know Gallagher's best value lies in England. Talks are expected to accelerate in the coming weeks as Spurs weigh up the structure of a potential bid. That's all for today's update. If you enjoyed this video and want to stay up to date with everything Tottenham, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Don't forget to drop a like and share this video with other Spurs fans. Together we can keep growing the Tottenham News Today community. Thanks for watching, and as always, come on you Spurs!